What's going on YouTube? KlaSSiK here, and today I have another video for you, another OOTP23 video. And no, it is not a tutorial video. Worry not, those are still coming, but I don't know if you noticed, I haven't posted here in a while, and the reason why is because I was waiting to get a couple pieces so I could make this particular video. And in this video, we are going to go over a live start. And the reason I wanted to do that is because we're currently August 1st as of recording of this video. So that means we are 1 day away from the trade deadline day. And that means that for myself, it's one of the most exciting times in baseball or in all sport, because this is where teams decide whether or not they want to make a push for the playoffs or the World Series. And in order to do that, they need to acquire certain pieces to help make that leap. And so I figured it'd be interesting if we went into a live start and tried to control one of these teams, or actually to make a few changes, a few moves for certain teams to see how that would play out. Before we get into this, though, I just wanted to go over a few things that I've done. Um, so in the game settings, I went into the AI settings. I tacked the trading difficulty up to 1, and then I balanced out the player evaluation AI settings down here. I also set it down to sabermetric to improve just how I feel the AI should be working on their rosters based on current stats. And then if we take a look here, there were a few transactions that transpired. I don't know if you guys have been following trade deadline day, and if you were, you'll notice that there were a few major trades. One of the things that did go down here was, actually, do we have the view that I love? That's fine. We'll just go into a trade log. So we had here, first up, we have Montas and Trevino going to the Yankees. Big trade. Frankie Montas was probably the second most sought after starting pitcher on the market. And so the Yankees are the ones who were able to get him after Luis Castillo was taken by the Mariners. And they also went and got Lou Trevino to add to their already pretty strong bullpen, honestly. And although Trevino's not having the best of times, it also allows the A's to offload uh some of that salary. And in return, they got a couple, three good pitching prospects plus three pitchers and Cooper Bowman. I think that this was overall a pretty good trade for both teams. The A's shed some salary and moved some older pieces while receiving younger prospects in exchange. Good prospects so far. And the Yankees have offloaded some prospects without having to dig too deep into their own pool, and were able to secure mostly Frankie Montas to help them in their push for the pennant this season. Then I also made a trade here, as you can tell, because I am in commissioner mode, of what happened for the San Diego Padres and the Milwaukee Brewers. The Padres went ahead and acquired Josh Hader from the Milwaukee Brewers. Uh, you know, and in the process also offloading a little bit of salary, not too much. And the Milwaukee Brewers decided to go for bulk. They added Dinelson Lamet, Taylor Rogers, who's an equally strong closer. He does have 28 saves, just one less than Hader, although and they have similar ERAs so far this season. And then prospect Robert Gaser. Lamet is also, he's not having a strong start, but he's part of this trade. And then Taylor Rogers, Esteury Ruiz, center fielder, young guy, still a lot of promise in him. So this one is a little tougher to go over. The Brewers are first in their division. They are going to be making a playoff push. Who knows if this is a move to try and, I guess, make some more roster moves. But from what we can tell here, they're not really saving money on this trade. So we'll have to wait and see what the idea behind this trade was for Milwaukee. But it's a good trade for the Padres for sure, adding a strong closer such as Josh Hader into their bullpen. Then we had a three-way trade between the Tampa Bay Rays, Houston Astros, and the Baltimore Orioles. The Baltimore Orioles, of course, uh, all of a sudden playing really good baseball, deciding that, hey, you know what, we'll move Trey Mancini, one of our better players, if not our best player. And this move kind of makes sense because they do have Ryan Mountcastle, who is a pretty good first baseman who has a lot of power behind the bat. And in this trade, they received um, Chase McDermott from the Astros, as well as what else did they receive? See if I can bring it up here, because it's always a mess because there's no three-way trading in OOTP, so that is why that happened. I just want to make sure I have the right names here, and also make sure I didn't forget someone. Orioles also got McDermott, so I don't know where McDermott is. He should be here somewhere. Oh yeah, so they got McDermott and Johnson. Here they are, from the Rays, and then I believe it's the Rays who received um, Murray from Houston plus cash. And Houston also got what else did they get? Houston got Murray and Mancini. So is the Murray trade. Ah, here it is. So here they received uh Murray, and that's how I did it. So right now you're all caught up. I've made all the trades so far today. I don't think there are any more trades to go over right now. Let me just make sure that nothing slipped through my radar, because I am watching this rather religiously. And nope, not seeing any other big trades right at this moment. So far, that's the trades we have. I'm going to leave it like that. And now let's go ahead and jump into um, another team here that's currently pushing for a playoff berth. And I think we're going to start off with the Blue Jays. And the reason I say that is because they are a team that is leading the wildcard pack, but they are definitely behind in terms of where they are in the division. They are 11 and a half games back of the Yankees. Who are just having themselves quite the season. Let's go ahead and jump on board with the Blue Jays. And let's get some trades going here. Some trades, but before we look into these trades, let's look at what the Blue Jays are doing so far this season. So far, the Blue Jays are leading the way in offense, except for stolen bases. And in terms of defensive play, their defensive efficiency is down to 11th, which is actually one of the owner goals is to improve that. They are also 9th in bullpen ERA, so they're definitely going to need some bullpen assistance there. Runs against our 8th, starters ERA is 6th. So let's go ahead and take a look here at our pitching staff. As we can tell right now, the starting pitching is okay. This is fine. You'd kind of want better out of your um, mid rotation pieces, but this is as good as it gets, I guess. Um, and then looking at it here, it's not a horrible tail, but apparently this needs improving, and I think I agree. Let's go ahead and look at the organization itself. Lineups. There's not too much that needs to be done here because the bats are doing their job. I don't think Zach Collins is necessary. I think four catchers is very redundant. From what I can tell, Moreno is already back down in Triple A. Zach Collins is still with the team. Otto Lopez is also down in Triple A. And I think that's the current team. Missing from the bullpen as far as I'm aware, and I have it pulled up here actually on my other screen. Are supposed to have a few players there. Let me just check the injured list if anyone is injured, but they're not supposed to be in the injured list. Okay, no, everyone looks fine. Um, few players should be up there that aren't up there. Maybe we'll just go through. Nope, that doesn't make sense. So we have what happened to these players. Trevor Richards, where are you? Why is he an A? He is supposed to be, although some Blue Jay fans might disagree, he is currently on the actual team. Yeah, there's just too many people down here that shouldn't be down here. And then there's going to be a lot of people in other places that they shouldn't be. I don't know if the AI is just trying to rearrange everything for some reason, but yeah, that doesn't make much sense to me. And a good way to do it is just set these players by age, and you'll notice, yeah, no, I don't think this 28-year-old should be here, you know? Um, well, hurry. Let's see. Double check the Toronto Blue Jays. Bullpen. All right. Depth chart from MLB.com. Straight from the source. Anthony Banda. Richards. David Phelps. Oh. And where is he? Trent Thornton. There you go. So that should do it. We know that these guys, Trent is set up for long relief. Relief, also long relief, but we'll see how that goes. Same for Banda. Phelps. All right. So this looks like how it is right now for the Jays. And yeah, just looking at this, Trevor Richards with a 549 is not ideal. Anthony Banda with a 426, but it's only over 6. Here we have Trent Thornton, who's there to eat some innings. But I think primarily this is your main concern, something that you want to resolve. Tim Meza, I also honestly think is but that's good. So take a look here. What we'll notice here is that we're also short on quality left-handed bats, except for Raimel Tapia, who's looking good over there. Who's their DH? Kirk. Catcher Jansen. That's fine. Yeah, Tapia is the only decent left-handed bat here. Bradley Zimmer looks like a offensive black hole. Zach Collins, decent. Kevin Biggio is their utility guy, so I understand why he's there. So ideally, we get another outfielder, lefty bat, and some bullpen relief, and some of those players we're gonna find here. So let's go ahead and let's start by going into the upcoming FA. Obviously, you could look at current free agents, and if I was the Jays, I would just be like, yeah, let's sign this guy, but we're not going to touch that. We're going to do is we're going to look at upcoming FAs because these players are more likely than not going to be players that are can be moved, are more likely to be moved on the trade deadline because teams want to be able to cash in on them as opposed to letting them go for maybe, let's say, another prospect, another draft pick. And if they do give them a qualifying offer. And so this is the first place I'm going to look. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put in here, let's start with pitching stats. And go by, let's also filter this. I want to know pitching stats. Go by innings pitched. I want you to have at least pitched 40 innings for me. Right? We have Edwin Diaz. If we go by ERA plus, right? ERA plus, for those of you who don't know, is literally just ERA adjusted. And so if you are close to 100, then you're kind of average, and if you're over 100, you're better than average. Is the way to see it. Basically, the higher your number, the better you are. And so, taking a look here, Edwin Diaz has a 254. Edwin Diaz also has a $10 million contract, and he plays for the New York Mets. And if we go into the standings, the New York Mets are in first place. They're not going to get rid of their number one closer. And so the next available would be Matt Moore. Matt Moore is 33 years old, free agent after this. Looking at his contract, got 2 option years left, so some team control. He's a fly ball pitcher, according to the current scout. He's having himself a pretty good year, quietly having himself a good year. 48 innings pitched, 1.66 ERA with a 271 FIP, so not much of a difference there. I mean, there is a difference, but it's still very low. 241 ERA plus, 67 FIP minus, which is very good. He is a positive WAR and R-WAR player. Looking at his last outings, he is very capable of going actually a couple more innings, but this looks like this was in Triple A. But here he was able to get a couple zeros. So look at his pitching stats actually at the league level. So far this season, very good numbers. His game log, again, Major League Baseball. Just a couple of days ago, he was pitching in the majors. So looking at it here, a lot of zeros in terms of earned runs, which is what you like to see. And so what we're going to do is we're going to put him into the maybe column. He's one of the players we'd like to get. Actually, let's check. He does play for the Texas Rangers, and if we look at the standings, Texas Rangers should be pretty far gone. They're 7.5 games behind in the wild card race. They could be making a push. They could not be. In this instance, I don't think they'll make a push. Rafael Montero, who is with Houston, well, Houston is definitely making a push. And you got David Roberson over here, who is currently with the Cubs. And again, looking at the standings, Cubs are third in their division, and they are here 13.5 games back. So he might be another option. Roberson is 37. He does command a lot more money. Is that going to be worth it? I don't think so. Just looking down here, there is a big drop off as well between Matt Moore and Robertson. So I think I'm just going to go for Matt Moore. They have him here as a starting pitcher, which is very impressive. He hasn't started any games for Texas. So maybe they just have him there now. But doesn't matter. We're going to go ahead and I say we go for a trade. Matt Moore. What would you guys like for Matt Moore? Let's go into here and let's see. Matt Moore shouldn't cost too much. He is 33. He is a free agent next season. Um, there's no compensation, and although he is a fly ball pitcher, he is probably well valued by the team, but there are things we can do to make this work. What I'll do quickly here is because I like to do this is go into manager options. Just take off my commissioner mode now, and then go back into that trade. Make this work. Now, what are they looking for? It doesn't look like they're looking for much. Doesn't look like it'll be an expensive trade, that's for sure. So what I want to do is see if I can give them one of the players that I said earlier. So yeah, Zach Collins for sure. I'm down. I'm more than willing to give him up. They want Zimmer. I'll give them Zimmer. No, they don't. They want Zach Collins. Go ahead and give them Zach Collins. Leave that trade. Boom. Rosters and transactions. Go into my players designated for assignment. Drop him in here. Pitching. Matt Moore. Again, he has a 65 stamina. He's got 4 strong pitches. He's having himself a good season. I think I'm going to put Matt Moore as a I'm going to see what they're going to do with Matt Moore, but if I was this team, I would put Matt Moore as the setup guy and take Matt Mesa and make him a permanent um, specialist. And then what else are we going to do here? We're also going to need to look for a bat, right? So we're going to go back into the agents, upcoming agents, and now we're just going to go into batting stats. Could do that, or yeah, that seems fine to me. Again, we're just going to customize this though. We don't need innings pitched, games. At this point in the season, hopefully you've accumulated a couple games. Let's see, what is the amount of games you should have had by now? Let's look at someone who wouldn't play too much but plays enough and who wasn't injured. Okay, so your at bats 103. So let's say you need to have at least 150 at bats. Okay. Batters. And we're also going to tweak this on our WRC plus. And we're going to look here. Who is a player that can really contribute for us? Oh, we also need to make sure that they are a lefty. So bats. Well, I'm going to put is not right because we could take a switch hitter. That's also pretty important. We have Josh Bell. I have a feeling that that would be a pretty expensive trade-off. Andrew Benintendi. He just got moved. We have Nimmo here, who, according to this, has 10 home runs so far in the season, averaging 262, 342 on base, 421. He has an OPS over 750. So that's a pretty good player. But again, with the Mets, there's no way they're moving him. Brandon Belt with San Francisco. San Francisco are in a position where they could challenge for the title, for a playoffs berth. Would they be willing to trade Brandon Belt? Very likely. He's $18 million. And that's something that will push me off of him. Let's see here. Peralta, who has a WRC plus of 112, still very respectable. 12 home runs. Tampa Bay Rays. He is costing the Rays $8 million. Are the Rays in a position really to make that push? I kind of want to say no, but they are always capable of surprising. So I wouldn't count them out. They already made some moves this season, and considering that they're also a team that likes to run on a budget, is that something I would do? Maybe. Maybe it is. Maybe it's not. Who knows? Um, but again, I don't know if I would put down $8 million or whatever is left at that $8 million. He does have 12 home runs, so it's a good return. And let's see here. Tyler Naquin, 7 home runs so far this season. Even 100 WRC plus, over 700 OPS, 104 OPS plus. Decent numbers across the board, but again, the Mets. So I don't think they're gonna go ahead and deal him. So that's where we're going to look at one in the trading block. I don't think it was going to generate anyone in the trading block. That's what sucks. They wouldn't generate anyone in the trading block. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the MLB player list. Boom. Same thing, and we're just going to look here at a team that is not really contending so that we can go in there and take their players and raid their their dugout. Let's see. Got Kettle Martell here. Probably going to be a really pricey pickup. If you could get Kettle Martell, Kettle Marte, that would be huge. He would be an excellent, honestly, an absolutely steal of a second baseman. It would also likely be very useful to backing him up, but considering he has a long-term contract, I don't think that they're going to be willing to deal him. Who else can we go for? Let's see here. Vogelback. Maybe. Nope. Neil. Nope. I think you guys are seeing a trend here of good players, of good players in on good teams. Brendan Donovan, Lindor, Anthony Santander. Is this something the Orioles would be willing to do, considering they just moved? They just moved Trey Mancini. I don't know. Honestly, I don't think so. Considering that again, they have Ryan Mountcastle who could play in Trey's on first base. Um, Anthony Santander is a pretty good player for them, and I don't think they would be willing to get rid of him. He's 27, and again, he's not costing them too much money. He's under arbitration next season, so he's still under control. One of those players you have to look for. And then let's see, our player we can go for. Harris and Happ. And Happ would be a good pickup, a very strong pickup. And I think one that has been considered as well. So let's take a look at Ian Happ and see what we could potentially get for him. Yeah, let's take a look at his contract. He is a very good utility player with a strong bat, so I'm happy with trying to trade for him. What will they ask for? Okay, so they're going to want a few of our prospects. Personally, if I'm the Jays, I will definitely try and move um, some pieces that are currently on the roster. So I would try to move Zimmer and Trevor Richards. I can't accept this right now because we've given them a lot of bad players statistically, or really strong players statistically. So we would, in real, just like in real life, we would have to give up some good prospects. I would do Castro. That sounds good to me. Complete the trade. Okay. Roberson transactions. Ian Happ goes in. Uh, we have room for another player here. And to be honest, looking at the Blue Jays, once again, pitching. Kushi's doing good. Barrios, Ross Stripling. But I think Ross Stripling is just filling in right now. So I'm the Blue Jays. Maybe I want another starting pitcher. One that's not going to be as expensive as all the other ones that have gone recently, but still going to be worth it for myself. So pitching stats. Customize this again. This makes pitches at least 40. And we're going to go again by ERA plus. So David Phelps, we've got that guy. Martin Perez, I don't think we're going back to Texas, especially since they are since Martin Perez is an all-star. Or Nebel is not a starter. Tyler Anderson. So we're also going to do this. Pitching rating. We want them to have stamina of at least 50. That's my baseline. And also control of at least 50. I like that. All right, what options do we have left? Tyler Anderson, Michael Wacha, who is playing for Boston, and I don't think Boston is going to be the team that makes a final push here because they are, oh well, they are 3.5 games back. They're in the net negative right now. They've just been in such a bad place recently. I didn't think they would still be hanging on, so no. Who else can we go after? Kershaw, Joe Musgrove, Johnny Cueto. Are the White Sox willing to make a move? So again, we're gonna check the standings. And the White Sox are 2 games back in their division. 2.5 games back in the wild card. They are definitely not looking to make that move unless they can get something else in return. Ross Stripling's currently playing for us. Adam Wainwright is having himself a season. And if we look at the standings, for the St. Louis Cardinals, here that where are they? Here we are. So they're 3 games back in their division behind the Brewers. And in terms of the wild card, they are 1 game back. So I don't think they'll be willing to just trade Wainwright. Mike Clevenger, Jose Quintana might be a player that they go for. It's a name that I've seen thrown around a little bit. Here. Noah Syndergaard as well. But Jose Quintana here, free agent next season, $2 million. Noah Syndergaard, $21 million. Obviously, it's the end of the season, so it's not as bad. But still, I'd like to avoid that. Zach Greinke, no. Okay, so I would go for someone like Jose Quintana. So if we go into the trade for player, what are you looking to trade? Again, you're looking for some prospects. And to be honest with you, I am okay with handing over Bowden Francis. Play that trade. And now let's take a look at the team lineups. Funny that they still have Charlie Montoyo as their man up there. And so they've delegated Vladdy to DH. That's weird. Blue Jays. You know what? I'm just going to fix that real quick because that bothers me. Charlie Montoyo is gone. John Schneider going to be the manager. That's bad, Charlie, because he's going to get fired then. Just like real life, he gets fired. John Schneider becomes the manager in Toronto. Who is their current bench coach? Casey Candelo. So this guy going as interim. Well, he'd be the bench coach in Toronto. Boom. All right. So I think that for Toronto, we've made our moves. I think that they are much stronger now. Let's see if changing that helps here. Vladimir stays DH. Okay, very interesting. Pitching. See what they do with their pitching. All staff. So they made Yimi Garcia the closer. They took Romano off of that. Let's see how that works out for them. Very interesting. Donna, Stripling. Who did they take off? Uchi. Uchi's now a long reliever. Makes sense. Okay. And let's do one more team here while we're at it. Which team do we want to make some moves for? Options. Go back in commissioner mode. Available jobs. And taking a look here, I think we can do some changes on the San Francisco Giants side. Boom. Looking at the Giants again here, bullpen looks like it needs some help. Their starters are doing good. Defensive efficiency is also low. Don't have the best bats. Let's look at their rosters and transactions. Injured list. They have a lot of injured players. But a lot of these players can actually help them out. So if I am the San Francisco Giants, do I make a lot of moves, all things considered? Good question. Very good question, because a lot of these players can help. I don't know if Rosenthal will help though. This Cliffsafani is a few out. Matthew Boyd is one away. He's gonna help. Darian Nunez is one out, but he does not look very good. But it looks like we're still going to need some, like the bats, I'm not worried about. They're all in here. We are looking for some pitching, so we're going to go into their transactions. And once again, we're going to go into our upcoming FAs. I know I already made some moves for certain players, but in this situation, the Giants are in a different position. If you look at their pitching, they've brought in Angel Rondon from AAA, as I imagine. Yeah. So he's here to step into a starter role in the big leagues. Alex Cobb is here. Alex Wood has. So Alex Cobb is probably also covering for someone. He was injured. We'll have to take a look. Everyone else here is fine. So maybe a starting pitcher for the Giants. And then this bullpen needs help. Uh, Kevin Castro has just been put in here. He's only pitched 1 inning. It didn't start very well. Their long relief guy. Um, also struggling a bit here. Also a kid. So let's go down into our transactions and see if we can make some moves. Coming FAs. We're already on pitchers. But this time we can clear the filter. We said one starter and some relief pitching. So this innings pitched at least 40. Boom. All right. Maybe this is where David Roberson comes in because he is not super expensive, but he is pretty useful so far this season. Um, for Nebel, where is Philly in the standings? Philly is currently third in the wild card race. They are, I guess, just tied for it, or they're in there. Um, they're 9.5 back in their division. They might want to strengthen their team, so possibly no. Anderson, a lot of these guys we already saw, and we know they are not available. Let's check. Where are the Nationals? Dead last here, and dead last there. So, KlaSSiK and Robertson might be two helpful pieces for that bullpen. How much would it cost? He is very cheap. They want some good stuff for him, though. Would these be things that we want to part ways with? Definitely none of our pitching. Three third base, two third basemen in here. So that would be Flores and Longoria. Where's here? Where's Longoria? What does Longoria look like? What kind of season is he having? He's having a pretty good season here. And he is a leader. I do not want to trade him for rental like Steve Sychek. Neither do I want to trade Wilmer Flores. So let's see what happens if we throw in a couple players here. Again, too many catchers in my opinion. Knapp is not having the best season, but he is strong as a defensive catcher. He is entering arbitration next season. But with Casali, Bart, and Wins, Andrew Knapp. Anything else you want to add here? Okay, so it looks like San Francisco can't handle KlaSSik's contract of 1 million. Okay. So put in 100. So the Nationals are willing to do it now. They're going to retain this. And this also helps the Giants cap space. So we're gonna do that, that's for sure. Actually let's look at our contracts. Are there any contracts that we don't need or seem redundant? David Ruff. Sure, Ruff. What else can we do? No, I don't want to give up Bednar. Rel looks like he's having a good season. Long Sway looks like he's, yeah. Airman Mercedes is with us right now. Um, he's having himself a decent season. Reckley. Sure, Reckley. All right, let's complete this trade. We're also freeing up some more cap space. Boom. So now the Giants have acquired that are strong bullpen arm. And then we're going to go back in here. And I think we are definitely going to go after David Roberson. Trade for player. This one now. Still just want big pieces. Kind of insane that this is what it takes for these players. So if we can coax them to taking someone else that's not overtly good for us. Still willing to trade Austin Wins because he's an average player overall in terms of just being a catcher as well. So Austin Wins. Mike here, who has been very average, honestly. Mike. Left field. Gonzalez has been better overall. Left field. And we also have Lamonte Jr., who needs to move at some point. We might move Lamonte Jr., but he might become better over time. So we're going to say no to that. And what would it take if we have them retain salary? Okay, so they're more willing to retain the salary. Okay. Definitely not Will Bednar. All right, let's give up a long sway. Sure, long sway. Why not? So, still making room, seeing that trade. And finally, we need a starter, I said. Can't afford Martin or Anderson or Kershaw, Musgrove. Who could you potentially go after? James Tyon? No, you can't afford Noah Syndergaard and his $21 million contract, that's for sure. And we just go down here. Zach Eflin. Oh, Zach Greinke. Why not? So let's see what it would take. Oh, but he's 13 million. So maybe that's just as good as you can do, honestly. It's tough to say. Again, San Francisco is going to get some help from their injured list. Sometimes you can't get a player, especially when your finances is in shambles. They don't have any money available, so that seems okay to me. Available jobs. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take a job. Here, we're going to quit the job. And we're going to go ahead and simulate all of the season, the rest of the season. So we're going to go here, we're going to configure the button. This, going to do 1 month. All right. Let's see how it goes. Do our moves help Toronto Blue Jays? Doing okay. San Francisco Giants staying in it, staying in the 500s, staying with it. Blue Jays closing that gap significantly, right? Apparently they also made some changes here. Oh, that was my changes. All right. Okay. Let's look at the standings. 1 month in, Toronto Blue Jays are a game and a half behind the New York Yankees. Giants are still almost even. Still 8 games behind, so that's going to be a long reach for them. It looks like these trades didn't really help them. Let's take a look at what these players did. Roberson has been strong for them since joining. No, he hasn't. He's a 794. And Steve Sychek has been good for them in the 1.2 innings he's pitched. So Steve has been good. Roberson, not so much. And let's check for the Blue Jays. How the players we brought in are helping them. So we brought in, who did we bring in to hit? Brought in a hitter, right? Oh, Ian Happ. So Ian Happ, since joining, doing pretty good. 2 home runs, 15 RBIs, 307, 118 OPS plus. And then if we look at the pitching, Jose Quintana has been pretty good for them so far. 6 games, 38 innings, 352. They brought up Nate Pearson, so I feel like someone got injured. They put Jordan Romano back into the save position. Yumi Garcia is back in setup. Jose De Leon's up here. So, not sure what happened. Matt Moore is here. They put him up in a setup role, which is what I thought they should do. He has been slashing 476. Not really sure what's going on there. And that's about it, I think. We brought in only 3 players there. Right? Yeah, that sounds good to me. Let's see if anyone else made some trades. Trade log. Aside from those trades, Houston made a trade. Washington, Cincinnati, Houston some more. Kansas City, Baltimore. So they did trade Santander, who I think would have been really good for either of those teams. Well, mostly the Blue Jays. Yeah, a couple more trades. So let's see how the rest of the season plays out. Go back into our league home here. Do the rest of the month. Do the Blue Jays close the gap? Half a game back, tied 1 game back. Here, San Francisco lost a lot of steam there, but now they're closing it up again. Did they have any injuries? What I want to know. Did their injuries get worse? Blue Jays actually took over the AL East. Okay, that's big. That's huge. Let's take a look at our standings here. Yeah, 3 games. So let's look at their injury. So they still have a few injuries here, unfortunately. KlaSSiK is there. Matthew Boyd looks like re-aggravated his injury. So that is unfortunate for him. Again, let's look at the lineup. We didn't bring anyone. We only brought 2 pitchers. David Roberson is doing much better now at 4.66 ERA in 9 innings pitch. Steve Sychek, who they've left as a specialist, is now down to 6.75, but that's only in 4 innings. So that's unfortunate. And then We go out back to the Blue Jays, who are now 95 and 62. Amazing. And look at the lineups. We'll see that Ian Happ is still has actually improved his numbers since we last saw him. He's now at 7 home runs, 315 average, 352 OBP, 498 slugging, an OPS of well over 800, OPS plus of 138, 1.5 WAR so far. Doing better than he did when he was with Chicago. Can't blame the guy. Again, left bat. Huge move for them. Might have been a little cheap compared to real life, but that's the kind of moves you're going to want to do in the game or in real life, honestly. Jose Berrios got relegated to long relief. Nate Pearson's taken over. He's helping their starting rotation. Their starting rotation is looking real good right now. Let's see here. We brought in Matt Moore, who is now back to a 441 over 32 innings, which is pretty good, all things considered. Jose Quintana, again, 70 innings in, 3.20. He's been huge for the Jays. 4 wins, 5 losses. That's fine. Let's go ahead and simulate the pennant chase. So, here we go. We're now in the playoffs. Jays end up facing the Mariners. Jays lose to the Mariners. Mariners beat the Yankees. What is going on? All right, let's take a look at the standings here. Ultimately, Giants did end up on a positive record, 2 wins, so 82 wins to 80 losses. Still pretty close to 500. They finished 7 games back. Unfortunate, they did go for a 9-1 final push. The Blue Jays almost made it to 100-win season, 97-65. And in the playoffs, so playoff tree, somehow the Mariners managed to defeat the Blue Jays 3-2 in the series, and then defeat the Yankees 4-3. Looks like they've gone all the way so far, and now they're taking on the Mets, who bested the Dodgers in the LCS. They swept the Brewers and bested the Padres. Let's see how this whole thing ends. And there you have it. The Seattle Mariners are your World Series champions. They had to do it the hard way. They went all the way in every series that they played. The Toronto Blue Jays, the team that we took over to do a couple moves, has lost to the eventual World Series champions. Not bad. Good push. And yeah, that's the video, guys. I hope you had fun. I hope you enjoyed this type of video where all we really do is go in on the live start and see if we can have an impact without doing too much. I know some of the trades aren't super realistic, but that wasn't really the point. It was just to make some moves to see if those moves would help push these teams forward. We had very different results. And it also goes to show that even if you make some good moves or some moves you think are good, other things can affect it, such as injuries. And when it gets to the playoffs, anything can happen. So thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and please leave a like. If there's anything you want to mention, leave a comment. And if you enjoy this content and would like to see more, go ahead and hit subscribe. I will try and get a few more videos out later this week. Maybe, hopefully, yes. Thank you, everyone. Peace out.